everybody, and welcome to a special quick-cast edition of Go Rangers Radio, live from New York, baby, with yours truly, Mr. Paul Cuthbert. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome aboard your friend of mine, Mr. Kevin DeLury. KD, how you doing, buddy?
I'm like all discombobulated over here. It's not a Wednesday. I don't know what's going on.
Friday fun, baby. What's happening?
Nothing, man. Feeling good. Nice win last night. You know, you always like to beat up on Torts a little bit there. You know, get him angry. I like the angry shots of Torts on the bench. That's always fun to see. The game itself, I don't think the Rangers played particularly well, other than our boy Georgie boy.
Oh yeah,
who stole one for us last night. But his trade value now has never been higher.
Come on, you're not trading my Georgie boy.
Let's go. First round pick. Let's go.
Come on, man. You can't get rid of that guy. If Hank goes down, we need him, baby.
We have Shesty Georgiev, my boy.
We haven't seen enough of Shesty yet. I got to see him. It's crazy, though, man. What a rip, man. We're talking about this Wednesday night, and the kid just goes all world last night against the Jackets. And, man, did he need to. 47 shots against last night, buddy. We also touched on the defensive struggles. Man, it all kind of came to fruition last night. Special teams gave up 5 penalties last night. What the hell's going on to get out of there with 2 points? It's crazy.
Well, Paulie, you were talking about what the Rangers system is, and you're wondering what it is. I think it's just let the other team shoot as much as possible on our goaltender and hope he bails us out.
Oh my God,
that's Quinn's system right now.
And he basically said that in his post-game press conference. I got to hear some words. All right, let's just recap real quick here. 3-2 win last night. Panarin homecoming there at CBJ. Nice video for him. They go in there. Lemieux scores, Trouba. Panarin gets one, the game-winning goal. Great stuff. Georgiev was just unbelievable, like we talked about. And then, like I said, it was just – I tell you, man – I was going to tweet a few times during the game, but you never really got a chance because just so much chaos was going on. But, man, the camera rarely panned who played goal last night for Columbus because we barely got to see him. It was all on our end last night, man. But real quick, after the game, Quinn, no pace, not physical, didn't expect to win last night with that effort. He went on praising Georgiev, as everybody did. No defensive zone coverage. Major problem. Not committed to supporting each other. Just surprised at the team effort in general. And that's his team, buddy. Take it away.
Safe to say he wasn't happy with what went on in that one.
Oh, my God.
And he said it, and he has said during his press conferences, when we're good, we're good. When we're bad, we're bad. And, boy, were they bad last night. But and they had 2 shots in the third period, 2. I mean, goodness gracious. But, like you said, and we were talking about, Georgiev was amazing last night. He had those 2 saves where cross crease, it was an open net, and the one in the final seconds was just, I jumped off my couch. I was like, oh my God. I was like, did he save that? I mean, just unbelievable. So, look, we've been used to, games like that since Lundqvist has been on this team and goalie performances like that along the way. I mean, it's usually Hank, but, now you got Georgiev in the fray here, making up for just a terrible defensive effort. So, what else is new with this team? Lots of shots against, hoping your goaltender bails you out. And somehow, some way, more often than not, our goaltender does.
I tell you, man, this team is driving us a little crazy, I think, because, we were, you talk about, the Vegas win, and Quinn touched on that too. He said, and I was talking about that in the podcast on Wednesday too, like, there was a couple of mistakes. You talk about, Georgiev's, man, he looks so much like Richter, man. The way he moves across the net, man, his lateral movement is just unbelievable. And I was talking about how Hank kind of let a couple of soft ones get by him the other night where, maybe and you talked about maybe Georgiev should have played in that game. It's just these little aspects of it. But, man, this has been like I'm out of words here because it's funny how we've been talking about it. And then it's like it's playing out on this stage where, they have these games where they just look like all world, and then how do you come out like that? And the way Quinn is going off, talking as a team last night. But, man, that's Lindy Ruff's squad over there. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you have to hope where they have this, again, up and down and roller coaster season and Jekyll and Hyde, and you're not sure who you're going to get tonight. I mean, you just have to hope it's more based on youth and inexperience. And I know we have some veterans on the team, but there is a lot of youth, and hopefully we could just sort of chalk it up to that because, you just wonder what goes on there. And again, I blame Quinn, for not being ready in the Vegas game. And it's got to fall on the coaches a little bit too. Like, how are these guys not ready to go every night? It seems like sometimes they're just, just out there going through the motions, and it's concerning that Quinn has to go out there. And there's been more than a handful of times where he's questioned, the team's passion, the dedication, and, you wonder what's going on there. I mean, I don't think they're tuning him out or tuning the coaching staff out or anything, but, he's got to figure this out. It's really unacceptable at this point, and again, I'm pro Quinn, pro rebuild, pro everything, but, this is sort of a little bit of a black eye, I guess, with what's going on here is this, this mixed effort that you're getting from game to game.
Yeah, look, I mean, I brought it up the other night, and I wasn't planning on it to kind of maybe, be backed up by an effort last night when I brought up what kind of a system is Quinn running here. I mean, last night, obviously, 19 shots on goal. They get the power play goal last night. They go 1 for 2, but offensively, there just really wasn't much happening there as far as 5-on-5. And then obviously the penalties they gave up, but you just couldn't see them really get anything established. It's just you sit there and you go, what's going on here? From game to game, the switching up, it's just all right. So you say youth, right? These guys have all played structured hockey since they were kids. No matter what level it is, to me, everybody's been at a game plan. Everybody goes through ups and downs, but there's got to be a cohesiveness and some sort of, at least some sort of consistency. Right now, the Rangers' consistency is being inconsistent. And, like I said, we've said, or I've said, it's okay if they go 2, win 2, lose 2, whatever. But, man, it really seems like they're going to settle into that groove. I say that within the hopes that they're going to, really kind of take off here, go from one game, build on and go to the next. And, man, they're so lucky to get out of that game with the point last night, and we've talked about it too. Everybody knows how strong their goaltending is, and it was huge last night, obviously with Georgiev. But you talk about Quinn, it's kind of a little all over the place, and we're pushing 30 games here, and again, we're positive it's part of the rebuild. And the last thing I'll say about the youth, because Quinn also said he felt the game on Monday, the young guys weren't really playing that well because he felt about the travels, the scheduling. 8 games and 13 games or whatever, and he was talking about that. He chalked that up because he said he didn't feel that they played as bad against Vegas as, say, they played last night. So it's funny how the coach is just as curious as we are as fans, buddy.
Yeah, actually, what's sort of funny about, there was obviously a lack of offense in the game, is their 3 goals were gorgeous. Like, the pass from Zibanejad to out front to Lemieux, that's just an amazing play. The power play goal by Trouba, great puck movement. And then the Panarin goal, you can't ask for a better goal. You had Howden had a behind-the-back pass into the slot to D'Angelo, who found Panarin wide open for a one-timer. I mean, all 3 of those goals are showstoppers. I mean, those are great goals. So in the midst of them sort of doing nothing, you had these amazing goals. Like, if you look at the highlights of the game, you're like, wow, the Rangers probably had a really good game. These are some beautiful goals that they're setting up. So the skill is there to produce that kind of great offense. And for them, like you said, it's just the inconsistency of either the effort or whatever it is. But the skill level and the talent is there. And that's, I think, what makes it all the more frustrating that they can come out with, just 19 shots and a 2-shot third period. It's sort of mind-blowing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and not to discredit Columbus here and Tort's team, and I mean, they really poured it on there last night. And again, Georgiev basically, I mean, it could have been a really bad, ugly game for us when you think about it, if you're going to look at the numbers and the stats and everything else and the way everything kind of.
And I feel like we say that all the time. It could have been ugly. It could have been worse if it wasn't for Lundqvist or if it wasn't for, the power play or, it's they're just giving up. They're just bleeding shots. And actually, ahaead ended up getting hurt last night. So they were only rotating 5 defensemen, which could have been part of the problem, last night. So even though, ahaead has been a lot of the problem, maybe better with him out of the lineup anyway. But so they were running 5 defensemen last night, which obviously makes it a little bit more difficult. But it shouldn't be that bad. And I guess, I'm assuming we see Mark Stahl tonight against Montreal if ahaead can't go.
Yeah,
I don't know if that'll make things worse. It might get worse.
2 bags of popcorn tonight, buddy. That's what you're going to need. Hey, look, man, you brought up I was listening back the other night, and you brought up a great point about, because we were talking about Georgiev and the waiver clause and your buddy Shestrin down there in the AHL. But you brought up the fact, like, would you trade Hank because these guys, these young guys, if let's say they went with Georgiev and Shestrin and all the rubber that they would face, and it might traumatize them and ruin them for down the road. And your argument was maybe we got to keep a guy like Hank on this team. And this is pushing aside all the quick trade talk, and I don't want to go back into it, folks. If you haven't heard it, listen to the episode the other night. But man, when you see a game like last night, and Georgiev is just unbelievable. He's a pro. He's advanced for his age because his post game, interviews afterwards, it's nothing for him. You know what I'm saying? Which is great. But I was just kind of laughing there about what you said on Wednesday night about, man, if you bring the 2 young guys up and they get hammered every night with these shots, what's it going to do for their long-term career?
Yeah, obviously he was able to handle it last night, but you wonder if it's sort of game after game, if that starts wearing on a young goaltender. Look, they'll get a lot of experience, a lot of shots, NHL shots, which I guess is a good thing, but you don't want to kill their confidence, although Georgie Boy's confidence is probably sky high today after a performance like that. He is a confident guy, though. If you read some of his interviews over the year, he said he always knew he was going to be, or he was the top goaltender in Russia, or was going to be one of the top goaltenders coming out of Russia. So he's got a confident level to him, which is something a goaltender needs. You can't lose confidence as a goaltender. You always got to be feeling good about yourself, because as soon as any doubt sort of creeps in your mind, that's when you start struggling and having a hard time in between the pipes. So, I love his mindset. And whenever he's had a tough game, he's definitely bounced right back. Or even in game, that Montreal game where he had a tough start and he bounced right back, and he was a big reason for that huge comeback last week against Montreal. So, yeah, right now I'm definitely encouraged with his mindset and obviously his play on the ice.
Yeah, no doubt about it, especially, that blowout against Tampa Bay, too. No, I think his maturity's there. Again, Kevin, it's, all this chaos that's going on in this team, and we're still hanging in there as far as points and staying close in the mix, and that's all we want. What you can hope for here is this roller coaster ride that we keep continuing to talk about. It's better that it happens now at the beginning of the year, because obviously you want these guys to learn from this, grow from it, and if they can get into the new year and be at least close to a wild card position, that's all positive stuff. And then maybe when the Jets get turned on, like every team in this league from January through to May, jetting for the playoffs, we'll take all this right now, because you don't want this happening. You don't want to get teased here a little bit and then this start to all fall apart, in February and March, especially if they're kind of, outside the pocket there with a chance to get into the playoffs. Because, like I said, you talk about everybody sees it. The talent's there. The goals last night, brilliant goals. The goaltending, absolutely fantastic. Defensively, these guys offensively are excellent. Defensively, this system, whatever kind of system it is right now, it's obviously not working. But, we'll take this right now. Great thing is tonight they get right back at it at Montreal at home. They kicked these guys' butts, last week. Montreal's gone 1-1 since then. They did us a favor and beat the Islanders for us the other night. But I guess maybe let me just get your take on that in terms of what I was just talking about with that outlook in terms of better this happens now than, say, 2 months from now.
Yeah, that's a good point. You really can't judge this team on what's going on in December. You want to see progress and with the rebuild and with these younger guys. I'm going to judge it more on, is this still happening in March? Is this still happening at the